Welcome to In Confidence, where what we share in confidence helps us grow in confidence. Now, I know the episode is called How to Be Great at Karaoke, but before we dive into it, I thought I'd step back and talk about why did we choose the topic of karaoke? Well, first of all, I love karaoke. Anyone who knows me knows that I have been karaokeing since I was a small child, and my parents went to Laser World and bought us a Laserdisc player. So we've been karaokeing at home during mahjong parties, during large gatherings since I was 5 years old and knew how to hold a mic. Not surprising then that I would want to do an episode about this. But the real reason we're talking about karaoke today is actually based on data. In our quantitative study on confidence in America, we identified 8 superpowers that underpin our self-belief: leading, performing, achieving, giving, knowing, creating, believing, and self-sustaining. Most of us have 2 or 3 of the superpowers that power our ability to accomplish great things in our life. If you haven't already, I want you to go to myconfidencelanguage.com and take the quiz to discover which of these superpowers you have. When we did the research on a national level, we found that the superpower that the fewest number of people had was the performing superpower. Only 12% of our data set had the performing superpower. Contrast that with the highest frequency superpower, which is giving at 48%. And so, one of the questions I always have is, why do so few people have it, but why do we want it? Not surprisingly, if I read you a little bit about what the performing superpower is, it might explain that we've become a culture of introverts and extroverts. And what I mean by that is, when you think about confidence, everyone talks about being outspoken, being loud, extroverted, charismatic, and whatnot, having swagger or bravado. If you know anything about us, we don't believe that's true. But every once in a while, you might need the performing superpower. If only 1 in 10 of us have it, 9 out of 10 don't have it. This explains why we have stage fright, why we get anxious when we have to speak in front of other people, why some people say, I'm just really bad at public speaking. Because the performing superpower is you enjoy meeting new people. You don't mind being seated next to a stranger because you totally are going to charm them. You are great at telling stories. You like being the center of attention. You're the life of the party, all of those things. The performing superpower is extroversion to the extreme. And this is why only 1 out of 10 of us score so highly on it. We don't usually need this superpower, right? If you think about most things in life, we're not going to be standing in front of stage, speaking in front of other people. But there are a few situations where you do want it. And we identified a few: telling a story in front of an audience, public speaking, selling someone on an idea, starting your own business, raising money, asking for a promotion, meeting new people. I find like when you have to go to a wedding and you have to meet new people, that's anxiety inducing. Delivering bad news, giving advice, or having you be the expert on a topic. So there are moments where we need the performing superpower. And in fact, sometimes in our relationships with our boss or the people around us, we need that superpower. One of the examples from my book, we talk about a woman named Susan who was vice president of finance at a health insurance company. And she really wanted to be CFO. And the CEO of the company told her she did not have the gravitas to be CFO of the company. And when she looked at it, it was because her top superpowers were giving and knowing. She's smart, she's empathetic, she's collaborative. And her boss's superpowers were leading and performing. He's outspoken, he's in charge. And she went back and said to him, well, first of all, I think I bring a lot to the table. Let me take credit for the superpowers I have. But when I think what you're saying when you say I don't have gravitas is I need to be more in charge. I need to be more outspoken. I need to be more leading and performing. And he goes, yes, that's exactly what I meant. And over the course of 6 months, she worked with him to get coaching on how to develop that superpower of performing and also of leading. As we climb the ladder, or as we move through life, we add superpowers to our portfolio. One of which is every once in a while, maybe it'll never be a superpower for you, but every once in a while, we need to learn how to be performers, how to speak up, how to be extroverted. I'm not saying that has to be you all the time. And that is why I want to focus on karaoke today, because the performing superpower, there's a lot of techniques we're actually going to share with you as part of this episode guide, a little download of a checklist of things you can think about doing. It's from my book, from chapter 4 of my book of how to be better at the performing superpower. But one of the things I think we need to do, in addition to some of the ideas and tips, which I'm going to walk you through in a moment, is we just have to practice. We just have to get out there. And I find that when we can practice something in a risk-free environment, it transfers over into another part of our life. My example is one of the women we interviewed for my book. She said, you know what? I am the president of my homeowners association. I'm the president of my alumni club from my college. Why can't I get promoted at work? And what we realized is that she had separated all the parts of her life. You know, she could mama bear her kid. She could definitely take charge at the homeowners association. And she just needed to transfer those set of skills where she didn't feel risk. She was like, I don't have anxiety in those places. There's not as much risk, so I'm totally comfortable taking the lead. And transfer those skills into a place where she did feel there was more at stake. And when we made that unlock for her, she said, oh my gosh, it's so hard being two people. It's easier to be one person. And so I love it when you can transfer between the parts of your life. And that's why I want to choose karaoke today. Because if performing is not your superpower, karaoke is actually a completely risk-free place to try out all of the techniques. And I'm going to give you some of the examples of if you want to be better at performing. First, use your body, right? This is always about how comfortable are in your body, breathing, getting ready for your space, rituals, routines when there's something that you love or are passionate about, using your voice, speaking up, making your hands matter, telling a story, making it super personal. These are all things that are built in for singing a song. And when you look at a number of the tips we're going to provide you in the downloadable PDF, you're going to head to our website, gravitasnewyork.com, and download the PDF on how to be great at performing. What you're going to find is in karaoke, you can practice all of those things. Now, let me describe karaoke. There's lots of different forms of it. There's one form which is just you singing in the shower or with your handheld mic that's imaginary. There's another version where you might have a karaoke machine at home and you have friends and family over and you just sing together. Or you might be like my boyfriend who likes going to Baby Grand in New York and singing on a stage in front of strangers. Or like my chief of staff, Claire, who likes to rent a private room and get a few friends and sing all together. Lots of different ways you can do this. But if you've ever been invited out for a karaoke night out, I think that most of us are not naturally gifted singers. We just don't want to hear what we really sound like amplified over a microphone and speakers. But what I've realized is karaoke is an unguarded way to practice being in front of other people. Whether you decide to do it yourself or as a duet or with a group, it's your chance to shine. By the way, it's probably no more than 3 to 5 minutes in length. No one's actually going to evaluate you. In fact, everyone's going to cheer you on. And I think it is a great way to test out your performing skills. In addition, today I've interviewed Ada Tseng, who is a writer, an editor, a mom, a podcaster. And when she was with the Los Angeles Times, she created the Los Angeles Times Karaoke Generator, along with Pandora streaming services. One of the things that I love is she said, my aspiration is to be a karaoke journalist. And in our conversation with Ada, she shares all her tips on how to be truly great at karaoke. By the way, they're not too far afield from what it takes to be great at the performing superpower. Choose a song you love that you're passionate about. Practice it. Make it your own, remember some of the lyrics, and then just have a lot of fun. I promise you that if you start to karaoke in your life, if you start to have fun with it, that will transfer over to you being great at performing in your everyday life. Let's listen in on the interview. Ada, welcome to In Confidence, where what we share in confidence helps us grow in confidence. I'm so excited you're here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be chatting with you.
And before we get started, can you just tell folks a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you're passionate about?
Sure, I'm a writer, editor. I'm a podcast host. I have a podcast called Saturday School where we talk about Asian American pop culture history. So I love that. I'm a runner and I'm a mom. I have two beautiful girls. They're 8 and 10, and they're the most fun people ever.
Well, we have to start off by talking about our meet cute, which is we are an Instagram DM gone right, not gone wrong, because I want to tell everybody how we met, which is this Instagram post started going viral, which was these matrices, these two by twos of Britney Spears songs, Beyonce songs, of all the songs scored by how easy or hard they were to sing against how fun they were to sing. And they just started getting reshared by everyone in my life. And I went to the Instagram account and it was Ada Tseng 88. First of all, 88's very Asian because those are our lucky
Mhm.
numbers. And I was like, oh my
Right.
gosh, I'm obsessed with this woman. She's at the LA Times. She writes about karaoke. And so if you remember, I sent you a cold DM, which was, you're very cool and I want to be friends with you. Were you creeped out by this?
What? That's funny that you explained it that way, because I think I was already following you because I found your book, Gravitas, in the LA
Ah.
Times office. Because, I think, they just get sent a whole bunch of press books and they can't cover all of them. But then there's people like me, I'm not working in the book department, but I was like hanging out with the editorial assistant. He was like, here's a whole bunch of, press copies if you want to like look through any of it. And then I saw yours because the cover is so, like beautiful, right? And
Looks
then
like a diptyque
normally,
candle. Looks
yeah,
like a
and
fancy
like I feel
candle.
like normally I know, yeah. And it's not like I was looking for like advice on confidence necessarily, but I looked at it and of course I like who wrote it, and it was like Taiwanese American woman talking about, kind of her story, and I was just like, oh, I want this. So I took it home and started reading it and I followed you. So when you messaged me, I was already following you. So yeah, I wasn't creeped out at all. I was like, oh, hi, I'm reading your book. And then when you
But
want to talk about karaoke, I talk to anybody about karaoke, so I was really excited because those are so much fun doing anything. Because I think I joked that I was like, I'm trying to make karaoke journalism a thing.
well, I think it was just serendipity that you were following me and then I got obsessed with you. And then I was on my book tour and I swung through LA and Orange County and I text messaged you. We exchanged phone numbers and you said, "Well, I'm going to write a story about run clubs. Do you run?" I said, "I do not run." And you said, "I'm running at this time of day in the morning and I'll meet you at this bakery afterwards." And I said, "Great, I will buy you a croissant and a coffee, but I will not go running with you for 10 miles beforehand." And we met in
Oh my gosh,
person. And
it
I feel
wasn't 10
like
miles.
I just remember thinking we are an Instagram DM gone right because we met over Instagram and then all of a sudden we became friends in real life and we text each other every once in a while, Happy Chinese New Year, just kind of kept in touch over the years.
Yeah, I know. I think it was because I wasn't actually that close. I don't live that close to where you were, but I was like about to, run with one of the run clubs for my story for work. And I was like, well, I'll be in the area. Like, I was like, do you want to run? And you were like, no.
Well, it was
That's
funny
that's a
because
common response I get from my friends when I ask them if they want to run. They're like, no.
well, other than running, though, like let's put running to the side, I started to follow all the pieces you were writing. And I thought, if I were ever to be a journalist, I would want to be Ada. You cover things around Asian culture, karaoke, Costco, all of your writing about Costco. I'm really into Costco. That's kind of where I spent most
Oh
of
my
my
God.
childhood on Friday nights. And I'm just really a fan of the work you do and the issues you bring to light.
I appreciate it. I think it's just me trying to do fun stuff, not only for life, but for work, because we spend so much of our time at work. If I can make
Yeah.
that fun too, that's good.
Well, can you tell me what is karaoke journalism?
Um, well, I mean, we think about like pop culture and kind of we cover film, television, and like live events, right? And then karaoke, I think we always think of it as amateurish, right? But it's also such a cultural thing, I think to me. I mean, there's sort of different kinds of karaoke, right? I think some people think of kind of the American Idol style karaoke where these are really, really amazing singers that are going up and basically like showing off their chops. But for me, I think of karaoke as like when I was growing up, my parents would have dinner parties with their friends and karaoke in the living room. And an Asian style karaoke is in like private rooms with your friends, right? So you're singing, like some people are showing off because they're really good, but really you're just singing with a group, right? And it's really fun. I was like, oh, this is like a cultural thing. We should cover it. And it's totally, and, we know it's a thing. Um, do you want me to get into like why I started doing or my first
Yeah. Well, no,
karaoke
and
gig?
I love that you went there though, because I think of karaoke as my childhood as well, because as an
Yeah.
Asian woman, that's what your parents did. They'd have friends over, they played mahjong, and you'd sing karaoke on a laserdisc player. There were two mics
Yes.
and a laserdisc player, and
Yes.
whatever fancy TV at the home you were at, you sang karaoke after dinner while people were playing mahjong. And then as I became
Right.
an adult, I realized there's this whole other set of karaoke cultures beyond just really great singers. I think there's just really phenomenal singers, but then there are karaoke bars where my boyfriend loves to wait in line at Baby Grand and get on stage. It's his one time he gets to be a performer, or there's private rooms. Or I saw in Costco for $300, I could have a karaoke machine at home, right? There's all these different
Yes.
permutations. I'm curious, why do you think people are so obsessed with karaoke?
I think it's just fun. I think that a lot of the people that I talked to when I was interviewing for the guide to find your go-to karaoke song, they say, it's like a release, and um it's a way like, it's like a self-care thing. Actually, one of the reasons I started thinking about it was because the team I was on at the LA Times, we were like doing explainers and guides, and it was during the pandemic, and we were trying to help people during the pandemic. And, a lot of that, some of that was like how to keep people safe, but the other part was like, how do you keep people sane, right? So we were doing
Mm.
a lot of mental health coverage, and people were talking about self-care, and people would be like, yeah, singing is like a thing that's really good for like a release, but also, especially if you're doing it kind of the living room, private room style, it's like very communal, kind of like coming together. And I think it's just a place where you can be silly too, like you can like or pretend, you could be silly, sing a song that you would never sing, or have that chance to be on stage like your boyfriend, right? Like, like pretend you're the rock star, like, and I don't know. I just think it's really, really fun.
Do you think, I think of so many people say they have stage fright if they have to give a presentation or they have to give a speech or they have to talk in front of others. Do you think karaoke is good practice for getting over stage fright?
Yeah, I was thinking about that recently because I like since I was a kid, I'm better at it now because I've like practiced. I bet karaoke has something to do with it, but I always had stage fright as a kid. I was the kid who would go up in front of the classroom and start like shaking. Excuse me. And even now I have to sort of talk myself into it, but I think there is something about karaoke where, first of all, just on a very practical level, you learn how to hold a mic,
Mm.
and when have stage fright, like even that is sort of like, where do I hold it? That kind of thing. And then you just kind of you also learn it's like practice, right? Like I think unless you're like a brilliant singer, which, some people who love karaoke are brilliant singers, but a lot of us are just sort of like you know, we just do it for fun. Like we just sing the songs we like, and then we practice, so we're not embarrassed, because because that's the thing. Like we all know, there's songs that we love, but they're not all good karaoke songs, or in like two ways. One way is that, maybe they repeat too much, or it's just really really hard to sing, so it'll make you nervous. Or the other one is sort of like, how well do you know the lyrics? Because there's songs that you hear on the radio all the time and you sing, and you're just like, oh yeah, I know that song. I know that song. And then once you start singing, you're like, oh, I do not know this song. You know what I mean? So I think something about preparing for karaoke, doing karaoke, I do think it's kind of like a fun step to get you a little bit more comfortable, like to get up in front of a crowd and give a speech.
I think it's fun, it's risk-free, there's nothing at stake, and it's really
Exactly.
good practice. Like anything in life, the more you rehearse, the better you are at something.
Yes.
So I
Yes,
want to
for
come back
sure.
to this because you started to hit on this. Can you explain what the LA Times Karaoke Generator was? Because this is your brainchild to help people at karaoke. Can you explain to folks what that is?
Yeah, so we're kind of creating like guides, right? And I was like, "Oh, we should do one for karaoke." And I feel like the reason that I thought of it is because I'm not like an amazing, amazing singer who can sing any song, you know? Like I'm like an okay singer. Like I can like hit notes within a certain range, right? So I feel like people get really nervous about karaoke sometimes because they're like, "Oh, I'm like not that good of a singer." I'm like, "Oh, it doesn't really matter." You know what I mean? Like, because it's just and I for me, I know there's strategy behind it, right? Like, especially if, some people are confident singing anything, and if they sing really bad and they belt out and it's totally miss, like they're cool. And I think that's great, and everybody should be like that. But I'm not like that. Like, if I like have a song and it's like way too high, I get nervous, right? So the karaoke guide was like really breaking it down. Like, how do you find a song that's good for you so you can feel confident and not be nervous? So we actually worked with a couple of people from the Pandora Music
Mm.
Genome Project. And also I did it with my colleague at the time. Her name is Fido, who was on the data team. So it's this very like data driven project where we were like, let's break down what makes a good song for you. So we kind of had it's like your three pillars. Whereas we're like, okay, well, one is vocal range, right? So like, what are the ones that are kind of in your vocal range so that you don't get nervous if you can't hit a note, right? The second one is like time period, because it was this idea of um, like nostalgia is such a huge
Mm.
part of a good karaoke song. It doesn't have to be, but it's like when you're looking for your go-to karaoke song, it's like what time period are you looking for? So we kind of narrowed that. And then the other one was mood, because I think that's such a big part of how you pick the song. Part of it's like, where are you doing a performance? Is it with strangers? Is it like in a private room with people you know? Like, is it like all the people you grew up with who will all know the songs from the 90s? You know what I mean? And is it like, do you want to get people up dancing, or do you want to like really like have this be your therapy session and everybody like sing the most dramatic songs? Um, so we went through we did a call out to sort of ask people what their favorite or go-to songs were, because part of it is also like how recognizable is the song. So we were like, what is everyone's favorite? So we collected like 600 songs, and then we went through them, and then we had the Pandora folks like put them in categories so that you could, pick a time period, vocal range, and then mood, and then spit out some songs that you could like try out and that would work for you. And I don't know, like I just it was really really fun because I think like I I just had such respect for them too, because just, analyzing music, because I'm like an amateur karaoke person, so I'm not a musician, but these are musicians, right? So they had data on stuff like vocal technical demands, which is my favorite thing ever. Like what actually makes a song difficult. They had data on like what songs have good sing-along choruses, which is like another thing that like makes for a good karaoke song. So it was really fun chatting with them and just realizing like, oh, that's why I like singing that song, because it's really easy. Or, and like it doesn't have these high octave jumps, you know what I mean? So that was the project. And I'm so glad that people like you like it. And then I jumped off from that. I was like, well, we should just break it down by artist, like Taylor Swift. Like, what are the
Love that.
easiest and more fun like karaoke songs, and just
And
to
I'm
give people
a
options.
I'm a former management consultant, so I love a 2 by 2 matrix. And when I saw that it was an Asian woman that created it, I was like, yes, someone speaks to my data heart song. I was so excited. But what you solve for people is, whenever you watch The Voice or American Idol, they always go song selection, song choice is your biggest hurdle here, right? Picking the right song for your voice. I love that you took the guesswork out of it. because that for me, once you have a great song that's your signature song, or maybe two or three, then it becomes even more fun, right? To take risks, to get people singing along with you. I love that you spent the time to create this thing and you got real experts involved.
Yeah, I know, because that's one of the tips that a lot of people give where it's like, oh, everyone kind of makes it seem like, when you go up and you perform something that what you're trying to do is make it seem easy and simple, right? But like, you don't know like what goes behind the thought process of it. So I feel like one of the biggest tips people gave was like, create a list. Create a list of your songs so when you go there, you're not like, "Oh, shoot, what should I sing?" No, like, "Oh, I can sing these," right? And then if you wanna, like, experiment, then you can experiment out of that. Um, but yeah, I think because also you can just sing the same songs if you want. You know what
Yeah.
I
No.
mean? Like, a lot of
Well, the
people do that.
thing, so whenever people ask me for my tips on karaoke, I feel like this is why we're kindred spirits, by the way. This is why we're meant to be friends. Is I always tell people, first of all, most of us are not going to be great singers. We're not going to be getting up there and crushing Adele. I went to Baby
Yeah.
Grand with my boyfriend, and there was a professional singer next to me, and she went up and she did Adele, and no one wanted to follow her. I said,
I know.
99% of us are not that person. So I always tell people three things: pick the right
What'd you
song
say?
for your voice or the energy
Yes.
you want to create, which you solved. You absolutely, this is why we're friends. The second is always pick something if you're going to be doing it in front of a crowd that has sing along or recall, because
Oh,
then
yeah.
for the choruses, for their certain parts, you're really not doing much singing. Everybody's singing with you. So they're not
You
hearing
can
if
do
you're off
the, "Hey,"
tune.
you know,
Exactly.
like,
And the third thing is know some of the lyrics. And I really think it's important that once you nail your signature song, because if you have you ever seen anybody, they're just staring at the screen and just reading the lyrics and they're not really
oh,
getting
yeah.
into the performance. They're not really engaging people because they're so obsessed with reading the lyrics on the screen. So I always say pick a song where you know probably two-thirds of the lyrics and you're just referring back to it when there's a verse you don't remember. So those are
Yeah,
mine. Do you have
yeah.
any to add to my list of things?
Let me think. Well, okay. I think those are the main ones. So it's like I think knowing a lot of that is just sort of like confidence and feeling comfortable because, especially if you're nervous, when people start singing along with you, that's so much easier. And it's just
Yeah.
so much more fun. Because at the end of the day, you want to have fun. I think the advice is just sort of like pick something that makes you happy. It doesn't have to be a happy song. Like, so I love singing something like like these revenge songs where you're like mad about somebody who like did you wrong, right?
Yeah.
But you do that because it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then also I think it feels kind of vulnerable, but that's sort of like the beauty of karaoke if you can get to the place where like it doesn't matter how you sound. You know what I mean? Like you're not
Mm.
unless you're doing a karaoke competition or you're trying to make your living as a singer or something like that, which, some people are, but most of us are not. So it's kind of like if mess up, if you're not the best singer, like whatever, like who cares? It's like a more charming. I always think about the scene in My Best Friend's Wedding where
Hmm.
Cameron Diaz goes up and like Julia Roberts thinks she's like trapping her by embarrassing her by like singing, making her do karaoke because she hates singing. And she does hate singing. She's like super, super nervous, but she like tries and she just charms the whole audience just like even though she has like a terrible voice but she's and I think good karaoke crowds are really supportive they
Mm.
like root for you, they sing with you um I don't know, it's when it's good it's just all positive energy and I think that's a good thing to practice just in your life too, sort of
Mm.
being like, try this thing. Like, you don't have to be good at everything that you do. Some things you do just for fun to get to connect with people. And then if you don't do a good job, like, whatever. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, move on.
Well, I love that you said that because first of all, it's less than 5 minutes of your life, right? So for 5 minutes, you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
suspend reality and just have a good time, take risks, do something you wouldn't do in real life that may help you there. But also, what you just said is important. I'm a really good karaoke cheerleader. So my boyfriend also told me this is I'm the person in the crowd who goes woohoo or like claps very
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
loudly
yeah, yeah.
or
I try to
sings
do that
along.
too.
And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's the other side of karaoke, which is make sure you're also a good karaoke cheerleader, right? Because that helps
Yeah.
people overcome stage fright.
Yeah. And I honestly think of like me singing and not being fantastic as part of that, you know, because it's sort of like making people feel comfortable, you know, not
Yeah.
sort of being like, okay, this is all going to be for people who, can sing Mariah and sing Celine, which we love those people too, because that's really fun. And I'm so like amazed by, my
Hmm.
friends who have amazing voices. But I feel like when I sing something that's like easy, and like I'm not like amazing, but I'm having fun, that sort of opens up to other people to sort of not be nervous, to like just, have fun.
Okay, so I have some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
When do you choose to perform solo, duet, or group?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm more of a private karaoke person, so I just like group much more. So I don't like performing ever, unless I have to. So I have friends that I make come duet with me if I ever have to go on a stage. Actually, for the LA Times, we had like we threw a karaoke party or an event with Radio Korea in Koreatown in a Koreatown mall. We like threw an event there, and it was actually a karaoke competition. And Korean Americans take karaoke really seriously, so that was actually like these people could have been professional singers competition. But as we introduced ourselves, like I was like, yeah, we should like kind of join and participate. And I was like, I just made one of my old friends come up with me. It made no sense. I was like, here's this person that no one knows, but he's gonna come up with me. Because I get like too nervous otherwise. But yeah, that's me. But I guess, there's been times where I've had to do it and you just kind of suck it up.
Yeah. You know what's
What about you? What
shocking?
about you?
So I'm a duet person, and people are
Yeah.
often shocked because I can stand on a stage, I can give a speech by myself, but I have a terrible voice. I am always out of key. I'm a great performer. I can sell anything on a stage. But when it comes to singing, because I'm not a great singer, I always duet. And I'm going to share with you a few of the songs that I duet. And I always
Tell me.
choose one person that I will duet with, right? So we're going to do a rapid fire of songs in a moment. So I'm going to share with you a few of my duets. And then I don't do group as often. You know how sometimes there'll be like five girls who get on and there'll be like two mics and it's just because they're probably a little
Oh,
drunk or a little tipsy and they just want to all sing together. I get a kick out of it, but I don't love being in the backup of a group of like 5 to 7 people around two mics.
yeah, when I say group, I mean more like not on a stage. Like, we're just sitting on couches,
Got it. Yeah, me
singing
too.
together.
I love a private room. Another question for you. Do you think women are held to a higher standard when performing or singing karaoke? And the reason I share with you this is sometimes a guy will start singing and he'll just not be great, but he'll just sell it. He'll be silly, he'll be funny. And women who are nervous, if they get up there, do you think there's just like a higher standard because you expect women to be great singers?
Probably just in the sense that there's like different expectations for women in general. So I think the short answer is yes, but I almost want to like push back on that because it's sort of like, um, like, or not push back on it, but just sort of like there's one thing, how people see you, and we can't really control that, right? But I feel like in some ways, I think for women, it's hard for us to look silly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I feel like we've just been conditioned so much to think about how we look and to like try to like look good, be good at things. And the idea of like, doing what that guy that you're saying does and just go up, not be that good, but like try to charm your way out of it is just not like a thing that a lot of us do, unless we're like really, really, really pretty. Which, I mean, like some people like can like get away with it, but yeah, but feel like that's why karaoke is good for women, to sort of just get out of our heads in that way, to sort of do stuff that's just for fun and for ourselves and
Yeah.
not worry too much about it. Because unless you're like a professional singer, we all look kind of silly when we're at karaoke. Like, have you ever like been out karaoke and then people take pictures or video? We all look stupid. Like it's always like
Yes.
photos of us going. You know what I
No,
mean?
and
And then,
that's
and then
that's why I asked the question, Ada, because there's always like videos or photos, and I'm usually the one taking them because I want to have the memories or I want to just send them around because they're so fun. But one of the reasons why I asked that question is I think we have to like take that systemic bias, that unconscious bias, and just release it when it comes to
yeah,
karaoke because I found myself doing it. There was, so again, my boyfriend loves to karaoke. So we were out at at Baby Grand, which has a stage and everything. You put your name down and you wait your turn. And there was like this professional female singer who just blew us away. And then there was a guy whose voice wasn't great. And he just like, basically performed his way out of it. And then
yeah, yeah.
there were these five women who were clearly at a birthday party who were just tipsy and just having a good time. And then you saw this duet of girls, one of whom was super nervous, and one of whom says, I just got dumped by my boyfriend and I don't give an F. And the really nervous one is standing there trying to sing every lyric, and her friend is just having the time of her life. And I had that moment of bias of like, oh my God, I feel really bad for the friend who's just like super nervous and standing there. And the other one, she just sold it. Right. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I that person that has an unfair standard for how I see women? I should applaud both of them. And that's what made me think of that question is like, we should just celebrate everyone who's willing to get on a stage and hold a mic and just sing their heart out.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times when we like judge other people, it's more like about what we're afraid of, right? Like we imagine ourselves there, and that's something. Like we would be really nervous if we were in that situation, right? So like comes across as judgment. And the thing is, like I do think, of course, I think with a lot of things, like women are held to a higher standard, right? So I think that's completely, completely true. But I think in the kind of karaoke safe space, I just want to be like, but who cares? Like, who cares? Like in this space, who cares? Like, because this is just about like joy and fun, right? And if we can let go of all those expectations placed on us, like that's kind of like the
Yeah.
beauty of karaoke. That's the holy grail of it, I
All
think.
right, so I'm going to create a phrase then, which is I'm deeming all karaoke zones to be anxiety free, judgment free, risk free. Essentially, all of the insecurities you carry around in life, all the biases you carry around, you get to just release all of those for however long you're going to sing your heart out.
Yeah, that's the goal. And that's, I think, why people who love karaoke love it, because it is a release. And yeah, it's if you can just sort of learn to relax in these spaces and, have fun with your friends. Um, I don't know. It's just it feels I don't know. It's just so fun.
I love it. All right, I'm going to run a few songs by you, and I want you to just say yes or no. But I will answer your question earlier,
Oh.
though. Is when I was growing up, my favorite duet was "A Whole New World," and I would sing the Leah Salonga
Oh, yeah.
parts. And then
Okay.
currently, it's I don't want to miss a thing by Aerosmith because you can pretty much talk your
Oh,
way through most of that. Yes, that's been
yeah,
my
yeah.
latest one to do. All right,
I
so
love
yes,
it.
just a quick yes or no, rapid fire. If these are good karaoke songs, "Always Be My Baby" by Mariah Carey.
Oh, yeah. Everyone loves it.
Okay, "I'll Stand
Yeah.
by You" by the Pretenders.
Yes. I'll probably say yes to every song.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
dramatic, yeah.
I'll Be Right Here Waiting for You by Richard Marx.
Oh, yeah, that one? Well, okay, that one's an amazing that's actually, like, one of the songs that was on my parents' laser disc
Yep,
that I
mine too.
sang. Yeah, so that I think that's an amazing song, but also, I'm gonna put a caveat on that because I think when I was at my cousin's wedding in Taiwan, and, at weddings, there's a lot of karaoke, um, we picked that song to sing on stage just because I was like, "Oh, yeah, we sing that all the time, everyone knows it," and I was like, "Is it good for"
Oh my gosh,
like, maybe we should have
whatever.
picked something something
No,
more peppy,
whatever
but
you
but
do,
yeah, yeah.
wherever you go, I'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, no, I'm not gonna sing
Waiting for
for
you.
you. Okay, Leaving on a Jet Plane by John Denver.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, Praise You, Fatboy Slim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can't Stop the Feeling, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, yeah, everyone's gonna start dancing.
Gangster's Paradise, Coolio.
Oh, yes, yeah. If you can, you should practice that one.
Oh, you should practice that one because that one's hard.
Oh, yeah, probably because there's, like, raps in it and stuff, right?
Okay, okay. Macy Gray, I Try.
Oh, yeah, that's good for, like, lower voices, altos, you know?
Oh, all
And then you
right.
can and then you can have fun with it because you could do the raspiness. I try to say good.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's good. Okay. Unpretty, TLC.
Oh, yeah, TLC is good.
All right. Don't Stop Believin', Journey.
Oh, yeah, that's classic. Everyone
Okay.
will sing with you.
Great. Love Train by the OJs.
I
That's an
know I'm
older
sure I
one.
know it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I'm
an
sure it's
older
good,
one.
yeah.
Party in the
I love that I'm just
USA.
like, "Oh, yeah, 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 yeah." Miley Cyrus, right? No, is that right?
Yep. Riley Cyrus. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one
Forget
that one
You.
I love. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Forget You by CeeLo Green. Okay. Yes. All right. Let's Hear It for the Boy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm giving you the list from my team, by the way. Shoop by
Oh,
Salt
yeah,
and
yes.
Pepper.
Yeah, yeah, that one's good, that one's good. That one you need to
Okay.
practice too, right? Because that one's
Okay.
pretty fast.
Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman, Britney Spears.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's my era of Britney.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful, ex Tina.
Oh, yeah,
Christina
yeah,
Aguilera. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Call Me Maybe, Carly Rae
Oh,
Jepsen.
that's one of my favorites. One of my favorites.
Okay. This is from Claire, my chief of staff. We Are Young by Fun.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that one's fun. Yeah, yeah, that one's fun.
She also loves Take Me to Church and Behind These
Oh,
Hazel
yeah.
Eyes. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Take Me to Church. Yeah, that recently I listened to that. I was like, "Oh, that would be a
Oh,
good
that's
karaoke
Claire's
song."
new one. Take Me to Church and Defying Gravity are her latest. And then
Yeah, okay, like, Kelly
yeah.
Clarkson, I think sometimes she's hard, but, like, if you can hit it, you can or if you don't care, then, like, she's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, no,
But
I
I
mean
think
just
that Take Me to Church sometimes, like, for women, because I think I'm kinda, like, middle low, like, you can take the male songs that are tenors, like the Bruno Mars, and then that's kind of in the vocal range,
ooh,
so
that's a good tip. That's a good tip.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then this is my boyfriend and we are practicing it. This is our new duet. We do Shania Twain Still the One, and we each take a
Oh my
verse.
gosh. I love
So
it.
that I feel like is a crowd pleaser.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
all right. Well, I'm sure there are so many more we could run by you. This is our team's shared karaoke list that we wanted to get your stamp of approval that these are good songs.
I I love it. I mean, any song could be a good karaoke song. It's just more like what's good for you. Like, what are you excited about? What do you feel comfortable singing? But yeah, but if there's some like, fun or drama, then that makes it, and if it's recognizable, I think,
Yeah.
then that just makes it easier on you, I think.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy you joined us on an episode of In Confidence to talk about karaoke. I know you're running the LA Marathon this weekend and you're having a big karaoke mixer party afterwards, right? Is that right? That's how you're going to celebrate?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, I'm running the marathon for the first time in 20 years. I did it 20 years ago, and when I was, like, in my early 20s, and I was how some people run marathons and then they just keep going and going? I think I ran it, like, twice in 1 year, and I was like, "I'm good," but then I always thought, like, "Oh, maybe I'll do it again when I, like, turn 40," and then now I'm like, "Oh, shoot, like, I have to, like, do that for my younger self." But so I'm doing it on, Sunday, but I was like, oh, I should do a double marathon and also pair it with a karaoke marathon because we have a place near us in Roland Heights in San Gabriel Valley in LA where it's like a happy hour where it's like one price, all you can sing karaoke. So it's almost like a dare. Like, how long can you sing for? So I'm just gonna do like 5 hours. I'm just inviting my friends and I'm gonna bring my kids. I'm like, we're gonna do double after the marathon, then I'll rest, eat food and stuff, and then we'll just sit in a room and sing for like 5 hours.
What's the first song you're gonna sing? Do you have it planned yet?
Oh my gosh, I don't, but I think I was like, my kids will be here, so I think we should do Moana, How Far I'll Go
Oh,
first, because they'll be there.
great song.
Yeah,
Great song.
yeah. But
Well, good
Brittany, I
luck.
love Brittany. Yeah,
Well, good luck with the marathon. And I love an all you can sing happy hour. I would be there if
I
I lived in
know.
California.
I
Thank you
know.
so
Next
much,
time.
Ada. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
All right, all right. I hope you had a lot of fun on this episode of In Confidence. Some of the things that I love about Ada's advice to all of us is we can all prepare. Let's know some lyrics. Let's pick the song that's right for us. That's just like getting on a stage or giving a presentation. The prep work matters. The second thing is get everyone involved. Sing along, ask questions, get people excited about it, and just have fun. It's risk-free. There should never be any anxiety. And I think once you start to feel that, you have what I call unconscious competence. It's like riding a bike, swimming. You just start to do it in your everyday life. If you can hop on a mic by yourself, with friends, with just even singing in front of strangers on a stage, you will get over the anxiety of performing in your everyday life. If you love this episode, I hope you'll share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe so you never miss a moment of inspiration. And until next time, in the words of my 9-year-old self, I see you, I value you, and I believe in you.